Welcome in, everybody, to a Wednesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. As we move right along, all of a sudden the weeks are moving quick. We've already got into Wednesday here on Birds 365. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Wednesday morning, brother?
Doing well, except for the snow locally.
Yeah,
I hope everybody's okay and able to dig out. Going from 75 to snow is not exciting.
Johnny Mac's in 75 weather down in NOLA, and he comes home to 4 or 5 inches that we got out there today. At least that's what I have here. I think it's like that. It looks like it could be 4 or 5 inches, maybe even a little bit more. So snowed in, Johnny Mac. John, you know what that means? You know what a snow day means in my world? A snow day means a good content day, Johnny Mac. So I'll be making a little extra content for the great people of JAKIB Nation today.
Well, that's good. I'm going to be out shoveling snow, trying to get multiple cars out. I think it was worse in South Jersey. Usually it's worse in your neck of the woods, west of the I-95 corridor. But I think we got it worse this time, which is, it's okay, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, good stuff there. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here this morning. All right, 3 days out after the Philadelphia Eagles became Super Bowl champions on Sunday night, their second in franchise history. I think many are reveling in that fact right now. The parade is now 2 days away, but we did have some breaking news that came down yesterday. All right, everybody, we had some breaking news, and Kellen Moore has officially been hired by the New Orleans Saints. Kellen is gone, Johnny Mac, and Jalen Hurts and co. will have another new offensive coordinator. Kellen's taking the Saints job, Johnny Mac.
Yeah, no surprise. Obviously, I kind of said it was the worst kept secret in New Orleans during the week, and Jeffrey Lurie essentially admitted it after the game. So I think there were some people hoping out hope, but it wasn't going to happen. It's one of those things. That's what happens when you have success. The Eagles were prepared for it. They knew it was coming. It's no surprise this time. Not that it was a surprise last time. But they were a little behind the 8 ball from the standpoint. Last time was about Vic. That's all. And when they thought Jonathan was staying, they didn't. Obviously, Vic went to Miami, and Vic's not the kind of guy who's going to back out, that some coaches have done over the years. So this time, everybody knew it was coming. And they've been working behind the scenes, how he talked about before he left, looking for his job. A little bit of a dichotomy. You're worried about the right now, obviously, but you have to think about the future. So Eagles have a plan formulated. Ultimately, interesting. Jeremy Fowler reported yesterday that Kellen's going to be interested in Kevin Patullo. That's a little bit of a curveball, because I think the assumption was he just bring Doug Nussmeier and make him the offensive coordinator. But maybe Doug's better suited to just be a quarterbacks coach and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be interesting, but ultimately I think Kevin Patullo is going to be the next offensive coordinator of the Eagles. We'll see how it works out. Not 100% on that. But I think that's the way it's going to lean. They're going to interview people, and it's just like Nick Sirianni. If you get into an interview and you wow somebody,
right,
you can change some minds. So, but remember, a lot of people are already accounted for. Bobby Slowick is a name because he just got a new gig, I believe, in Miami yesterday. A lot of people are off the table because of the Eagles have gone so late.
Right.
And won the Super Bowl. So,
and that probably increases the chances of a guy like Patullo getting the job, right? I mean, there's obviously the pool is not as big, so the comfort to move there is you go in house and you don't worry about it. Now, how much do you think Patullo would alter or change the offense, or would he not at all? And would it be a little bit of the same with his own flair? Isn't he going to have his own?
Yeah, I wish I got this question yesterday. I wish, and my answer was. I got a lot of complaints about being too curmudgeonly yesterday, but my answer is don't fucking worry about scheme. What you were sold, and I'm not talking to you specifically, I'm talking to the fans. What you were sold is we're going to evolve this thing. There's going to be a bunch of motion. There's going to be a bunch of creativity. And then it just went right back to what you saw with Brian Johnson, Shane Steichen, and Nick Sirianni, because good coaches mold around the players they have. And that's why it looked very, very familiar and very different from what
What about
Kellen.
from like a what about from like a terminology standpoint? Because I think that's some of the stuff that delays
No,
stuff too. I mean,
that's legit.
it's
Terminology should be, similar.
yeah.
So yeah, you're not going to get drastic changes there. Um,
Because I think that's one of the harder parts that goes unnoticed. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but learning the NFL terminology is no
yeah, it's
joke. I mean,
probably I've always thought it's kind of silly that there's certain things obviously when you're talking about audibles you have to change them up because you don't want to be you don't want to alert people to what you're
right?
doing. Um, but as far as a lot of people run the same stuff but call it different things, and I always thought that was kind of silly to make the players learn, because you're saying, all right, however many offensive players, you have to learn a new way, while I, as the coordinator, I'm one person, versus 35 people.
Right.
That never made a lot of sense to me the way the NFL did that. So that part's a little bit legitimate, and that should stay similar at the bare minimum. Um, so that could be a positive. But yeah, I mean, scheme wise, you just saw it, guys. I mean, yeah, if you're hiring a scheme, you're doing it wrong. Good coaches adapt to their players, um, and Kellen deserves that. The lead bullet point to me of Kellen Moore this year getting a head coaching job was his ability to shift gears
Right.
and
And
build
adapt.
around the players he had,
Right.
not the scheme. And that's where he kind of proved himself.
Well, the scheme is overrated. I do agree with you on that, but we've talked a lot about, I mean, the evolution of this offense and, you know, you always want to get better no matter how good you are. And I think even as Super Bowl champions are going to want to get better. Well, what does that look like potentially under Kevin Patullo? Is it the same? Does he now bear the burden of, being the guy that can improve the passing game? I mean, how do you view that part of the offense
I
with
think
the
it's
new
going to
name?
be, whether it's Kevin or somebody else, I think it's going to be very similar to last spring and summer, where you have all those stories coming out about them trying to do different things on offense. And that'll go through the summer and into the season. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, they'll fall back to the offensive line and the running back. I think it's going to be carbon copy of last season.
Right.
Of course, they're going to try to get better. Of course, they want to get better and more consistent. And for the people that don't think they don't have to get better, the best they played were the last 2 games of the season.
Yeah, which makes me upset that Kellen's leaving because I look at this and I'm like, dang, it took longer than we wanted, but they did look the best in the last 2
And
games. And
let's
even
be
most
honest,
importantly, John, what do we talk about? If you take away Saquon Barkley, you want to be still want to be an elite offense. Well, the Chiefs took away Saquon Barkley, and they were an elite offense in the Super Bowl.
yeah.
You
And it
know?
was, let's be honest, it's about the passing game. The passing game elevated.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Um, so for the people who say it doesn't matter, oh, it matters. And they managed to work it out in the biggest moments possible. And they look great the last 2 games, really. Now Saquon was great as well against Washington, but as you mentioned, that's the only thing Kansas City did um, was stop Saquon Barkley, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. Um, you know, now I still think the defense was the bigger part of the Super Bowl. The defense, man, I can't say enough things for the people that say I'm not positive. They're not listening to me talk about this defense because um, they just the things that they were able to accomplish in this era is just unbelievable. Um, the craziest, I'm trying to pull it up. The craziest, I didn't realize this until yesterday. The Chiefs against the Eagles, the only game in the NFL this season, the only game in the NFL this season, week 1 through the Super Bowl. Good teams versus crappy teams, not best versus best, not NFC champion versus AFC champion. It was the only game in the NFL this season where an offense did not run a single play in the opponent's territory in the first 9 drives. The only game this season. I've never seen a defense suffocate an offense like that. And I'm talking about when, Tommy DeVito's on the field.
Yeah. That's pretty unbelievable. Say that stat one more time again for the great people.
The only game this season where an offense did not run a single play in the opponent's territory in the first 9 drives.
When did they cross midfield? It was third quarter, I think.
Third quarter. Right? Yeah, third quarter. The Xavier Worthy pass.
And by the way, you're not talking about it that Tommy DeVito. You're talking about Patrick Mahomes, who's
exactly
already first ballot trip to Canton. I mean,
think about how many shitty quarterbacks because of injuries are out there.
Right.
I'm picking on Tommy DeVito, but the Tommy DeVitos of the world.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Yeah, he's catching stray bullets, but I know what you mean.
I just unbelievable performance by that defense. And Jalen Carter didn't even play well.
No doubt about it. Here's a question for you on Kevin Patullo. All right, let's play a scenario out here right now. Kellen Moore offers Kevin Patullo the New Orleans Saints offensive coordinator job. Nick Sirianni offers Kevin Patullo the offensive coordinator job in Philly. He's taking Philly, right?
Yeah, he's taking Philly for what one major reason. He got very close with Kellen Moore very quick.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I read your article. It was a very, very well written article.
Every Friday, those two were like, thick as thieves at the start of practice. But he's very close to Nick Sirianni. I've been saying that for years. That people finally picked up on it. He's his right hand man. He's number 2 essentially to Nick. He handles, and that's part of the reason why, from Nick's standpoint, he might not want to lose him from that aspect. All the administrative stuff he helps with and all the kind of logistical stuff, which is the job of head coach that nobody talks about.
Right.
Like Kevin is well versed in that kind of stuff. And Nick might not want to lose that. But then you'd have to convince him, because it became pretty clear talking to Kevin down in New Orleans that he does want to be a coordinator and call plays. And that's the second part. He calls plays here. He'll call plays. He will not call plays in New Orleans. Kellen has already said he's going to call the plays. So I think that's the big difference. Plus the Eagles will probably pay him more. Just because they generally do. And other teams try to cut corners, and it's one of the reasons the Eagles are the Eagles.
Here we go, Johnny Mac. We already got news a couple days after the Super Bowl with Kellen Moore out the door. Who will be the replacement? We're 15 days away from the NFL Combine. We're 28 days away from NFL free agency, and we're 71 days away from the NFL draft. The offseason is underway, everybody. And we're 2 days out from a parade. All right, who's going down to the parade? I've already asked the great people. All right, I'd like to get a crew of JAKIB Nation together at the parade. I want to pick of me and all the people, or as many people as I can get down at the parade. If you're going to be down there, let me know. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, X. Make sure you follow me over there at Real Zander on X and at Zander Krause Show on Instagram. Appreciate all of you guys, and make sure you guys follow John as well at JF McMullen on Twitter. One of the best follows on Twitter. Johnny Mac, feels pretty good though to I wonder how much change will come. I think about Clint Hurt. I think about
the good news Parker,
is any of those guys on their way out the door, you think? I mean, those guys are position coaches. Clint Hurt has already been a DC in this league. If I'm Kellen Moore, I'm looking at him and I'm like, oh, that defensive line played pretty good this year. I'd consider him if I was Kellen.
Well, the good news is Schefter reported that Kellen's thinking about Brandon Staley as the defensive coordinator.
Which is a shitty hire. It's a buddy hire.
It is a shitty hire.
It's a buddy hire is what it is. Didn't he bring Kellen to LA?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. Similar to Kevin here. I mean, he developed quickly, and I imagine they're buddies. They didn't have a history before that. I don't believe But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, that guy, not a fan. Now, doesn't mean you're not a good coordinator. We've seen a number of times bad head coaches be very good coordinators, but I don't think he was a great coordinator. He's another Vic guy. He's another copycat. And that's why Sean McVay brought him in originally to run Vic's scheme. And yeah, I don't think he does it that well. So, but and from that standpoint, not to say that Clint or Christian or even Bobby King could do it better. I have no idea. I have no idea if they'd run that scheme, but if that's the case, that's a break for the Eagles, I would say.
Yeah, a couple super chats. I think the problem with where you are in defense is there's always problems whether you have stability at coordinators or not. Is Abe says promote Clint. Well, where are you going to promote him to? I mean, Vic Fangio is your defensive coordinator, so that's the problem. I mean, if you can't promote these guys, they're going to be out
promote them to where? Yeah,
that's what I mean. Ethan checks in. What's up, Ethan? Good to see you, my man. He says, Myles Garrett, is it realistic? What would we have to give up? Love the content and watch you guys every day. Go Birds. Thank you, Ethan. Johnny Mac, your thoughts on the Myles Garrett comment? Because I do think they're going to be coming more and more.
Whole shitload you'd have to give up. 2 first-round picks. Remember, because you're so good, you're picking 32nd. You're projected to be really good next year. So your first-round picks aren't as valuable as other people's first-round picks. So it would start to me with 2 first-round picks, probably another day 2 pick and a player minimum, and all the money. Start there, and you might have to go higher. But a whole heck of a lot to get Myles Garrett.
Good stuff, Ethan. Appreciate it, man. I think I feel like Howie's going to make a move at edge. I mean, if you think about it, if you're going to lose Josh Sweat, all right, you're looking at Jalix Hunt and Nolan Smith. No guarantee in the draft, and you're at the bottom of the draft. I think he's going to want a contributor for this.
Forget Bryce up. That Bryce is back.
Bryce Huffle-Schnufflegus is going to be the number 4. I mean, you're going to try and bring in a contributor. Is it a trade? Is it a free agent? Free agents are not that good. Not that good, Johnny Mac. You got Chase Young. You got Omenahu. You got Josh Sweat. Not many good free agent edge rushers. So what will Howie do? We will see about that. Brian Pumper checks in. One's aura is ridiculous. Sheesh, homie is so damn swaggy. And now Brian Pumper has become a Jalen.
Yeah, Jalen was on the Tonight Show last night.
I saw
Saquon as well, and the offensive line got a cameo. So good for them.
Yeah,
they all got to be on that.
I saw some dude on Twitter ripping Jalen for not shotgunning a beer. I'm like, I hate to break it to you guys. If you think I would shotgun a beer in that moment on national TV, I would be like, hell no.
Well, that all stemmed from Saquon shotgunning a beer,
right,
which was pretty impressive in the celebration. Ironically, Saquon it lost in the shot. I don't know if you saw the shotgun. The camera was on
locker room shotgun. I saw that. Yeah,
the camera was on Saquon, and it was pretty.
But Nick Gates destroyed him.
Nick Gates destroyed him,
which is crazy to say because Saquon did that pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't shotgun beers like that, everybody. All right. That's not me.
Nick is a great guy. By the way, they're very close. Nick and Saquon played with the Giants together. They're very close. Nice. But yeah, I saw Saquon do that, and he got destroyed by Nick Gates. I'm like, how quickly? It took him right,
2.5 seconds, if that. Yeah. All right, we got a highly anticipated segment coming up next. All right, the greatness of Mike Gill left us for Thailand a couple weeks ago. His much anticipated return is coming up next here on Birds 365. We'll read one more super chat. I'll give you a quick live read, and then we'll get to Mike Gill. Steph says, "Is Reed B a free agent? If so, are we going to sign the exciting White and Jalen and MF and Dog? Let's go." Reed is not a free agent. Correct?
No, he's not a free agent. So you're fine with Reed Blankenship. He'll be back. Had a very good season. One of the, I would say, more underrated players on the Eagles. Pretty much runs things on the back end for Vic Fangio. So no issues there. He's going to be back.
Yep, good stuff there. Reed will be back, and Jalen is a dog. All right, good stuff. Here coming in, everybody. We appreciate all you guys being here. Don't forget to hit that like button. Before I get to Mike Gill, let me tell you guys about the great people at BetUS. Go and check them out now. BetUS.com.pa. promo code is YouTube150, gives you 150% sign up bonus on your very first deposit. You get 125% on your second and third deposit, all up to $2,000. So deposit less and bet with more at BetUS. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And use that promo code YouTube150. All right. We'll be betting on basketball and baseball and all hockey and all the other sports, because football is in the rear view mirror, everybody. As sad as that might be for some of you, it's certainly a sad thing.
We'll still get some bets with draft picks and all that kind of stuff.
That's true. That's true. There you go. Good stuff, Johnny Mac. We'll see. Maybe some USFL or something like that.